Hi, Miss Marion here. Let's go ahead and turn to page 136. We're going to go ahead and read the I can statements and write yourself a sentence so I can interpret the vertical intercept of a graph of a real world situation. I can match graphs to the real world situation they represent by identifying the slope and the vertical intercept. And so let's go ahead and write a sentence, write a number. So 1, I don't remember. 2, I kind of remember it. 3, I remember, but don't ask me to teach it. And 4, I can teach it to my friend. A sentence and a number on page 136. So by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to describe orally and in writing how the slope and the vertical intercept influences the graph of a line. And you should be able to interpret the positive intercept of the graph of a linear relationship. Remember, linear relationships that we talked about is something that does not go through 0, 0, and it is a straight line on a graph. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 53 and 54. On page 53 is your picture that we have here. Page 54 has the directions. Number 1, if your pattern continues to grow in the same way, how many tiles of each color will be in the 4th and the 5th diagram, and then the 10th, and then how many tiles of each color will be in the nth diagram, and then prepare to explain your reasoning. So go ahead and pause right now and work through that and see what you can get. All right, now since you've looked at this, let's go ahead and kind of walk through it. So here we have 1 yellow, and at the 2nd we have 2 yellows. At the 3 we have 9 yellows. So kind of what's going on here is, okay, there's a different pattern. Here we have 3 blues. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blues. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blues. And then we have 1, 2, and then 3 reds. So let's go ahead, let's kind of think about it. Let's do the 4th. We had a group of 4. So on the 4th, we'll do that in green. How many yellows are we going to have on the 4th diagram? We are going to have 16 yellows. Okay. How did we kind of look at that? So look at the pattern, see how it goes. We are going to have 12 blue. And we are going to have 4 red. Let's look at the 5th. Let's do that in blue. So how many yellows do we have on the 5th? We're going to have 25 yellow. We are going to have 15 blue. And then we're going to have 5 red. And then we're asked to do the 10th. So let's put the 10th right here. On the 10th, we are going to have 100 yellow. We are going to have 30 blue. And then we are going to have 10 red. So what's going on? Let's kind of think about it in the nth division kind of thing. So on the nth, how many reds, how many yellows? Let's start with yellows. If we took the number that we're in, so if we took 2 and we squared it, we're going to get 4. If we took 3 and we squared it, we're going to get 9. So it's going to be n to the 9th, yellow. Okay, and then let's think about the blues, what's going on with the blue. So we have here, we have 3, then we have 6, we have 9, right? So on the blue, it's going to be 3 times n blue. And then looks at the red. How many red? That kind of goes with the number. So we're going to have n red. So all we're doing is we're looking at patterns and seeing how it's going. All right, we're going to actually do some stuff out of order, and I'll explain it to you in a second. So we're actually going to turn to page 55. And on page 55, it says, Lynn has a summer reading assignment. After reading the first 30 pages of the book, she plans to read 40 pages until she finishes reading. Lynn makes the graph shown here to track how many total pages she'll read over the next few days. After day 1, Lynn reaches 70 pages. which matches the 170 she made on her graph. After day 4, Lynn reaches 190 pages, which does not match the point 160 she made on her graph. Lynn is not sure what she went wrong since she knows she followed her reading plan. So right now, let's go ahead and answer number 1. Sketch a line showing Lynn's original plan on the axis. Go ahead and pause right now and go ahead and sketch that, and let's see if we got the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and let's sketch it. So Lynn, I'm going to go back to our story. Lynn said that she went ahead and she read 30 pages of the book. So far she read 30 pages of the book. So we're going to put a point at 30. Then she keeps on reading 40 pages per day. So after day 1, so if I do 30 and then she's supposed to read 40, that means at day 1 she should be at 70. Okay? And then let's do that again. So 70, and then she's supposed to add another 40. So if we do 70 plus 40, that should at day 2, she should be at 110. And then at day 2, 110, let's find day 3. So let's go ahead and let's add another 40 to the 110. It should be 150 at day 3. And this should be her line that goes along with it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at number 2. What does the vertical intercept mean in this situation? How do the vertical intercepts of the two lines compare? So let's go ahead, let's write down the definition of vertical intercept. Okay, so vertical intercept that is where the line crosses the vertical axis. Okay, so let's go ahead and I want you to go ahead and answer number 2. So what does the vertical intercept mean in this situation? And then how do those two compare? So my green line and then the original line. How do those two compare? Go ahead and pause and answer that question right now. Now, since you paused, let's go ahead and let's go through it, right? So let's look at it. Mine here, this number is 30. So on the green line, it says that Lynn has read 30 pages at the beginning of when she starts doing her pattern of how many she wants to read per day, which is 40. If you look at what was originally there, they had the 40. This is saying, oh, Lynn has read 40 pages. So at the beginning, after reading 40 pages, then she started doing her graph with how much she's supposed to go ahead and do. So the vertical intercepts on both of these graphs, they're different. And they do not mean the same thing, where the green one starts at 30, the original one starts at 40. And then let's go ahead and let's answer number 3. What does the slope mean in this situation? How do the slopes of the two lines compare? So find the slope of the green and then find the slope of the original graph that's there. Go ahead and pause and do that. All right, let's start with the original picture and let's do a slope triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this one and this one. Let's do a slope triangle that's on there, right? So what is our horizontal here, right? What is that going to be? That is 2 days. What is the vertical going up and down? So it goes from 110 to 160. So that is 60. Let's label it pages. So the original is 60 pages over 2 days. And this is a fat fraction, right? Let's go ahead and reduce it down. So that's going to be 30 pages over 1 day. And so the original, that slope is 30 pages over 1 day. Let's go ahead and let's do the one that we drew. Again, we can go ahead and pick 2 points that are on there. And we can do a slope triangle again. So here is 1 day. And it goes from 30 to 70. So that's 40 pages. So the slope of what Lynn's supposed to do is 40 pages for one day. So notice how the original, they had the wrong slope that was on there. It was 40 pages for one day. Sorry, theirs is 30 pages for one day. Ours is 40 pages for one day. Now, since we've talked about slopes and then also vertical intercepts, that's where the line crosses the vertical axis, we're actually going to do a Canvas assignment. So it's Unit 3, Lesson 6, card sort. It's actually underneath the modules for today. And what you're going to do is you're going to match the situation with the graph that's there. So I did set it up. You do have to have 80% or higher on this to be able to go into your practice problems. So keep on doing it. You have unlimited tries. But go ahead and figure out which ones match together and understand how those matches. How do they match? How do the slopes need to match? And also the vertical intercepts need to match. Once you're done with that, you need to come back and we'll talk about what we have learned for today. All right, so for again today, we need to go ahead and learn the vertical intercept. The vertical intercept is where the line crosses the vertical axis. And so we need to kind of remember that. And so we have this graph here. If I have this graph and I'm looking for my vertical intercept, this vertical intercept is 200. And what does it mean? It's actually at $200. So again, we will pull from the x-axis and y-axis as far as labeling both the slope and also the vertical intercepts. So on page 57, so let me put that in there. So on page 57, I want you to go ahead and underneath the glossary term, you need to do a definition for yourself about vertical intercepts and what they actually are and the definition for it for yourself. In your own terms, you can write down my mathematical definition if you want, but it's better to write down your own definition. So again, we needed to go ahead and describe orally and in writing how the slope and the vertical intercepts of the graph of the line, what they mean. Interpret those positive intercepts of the graph of the linear relationship. Remember, a linear relationship is a straight line on a graph and it does not go through 0,0 like before. Go ahead and turn back to page 136. Go ahead and read the ICANS, how I interpret the vertical intercept of a graph of a real world situation. And I can match graphs to the real world situation they represent by identifying the slope and the vertical intercept. Give yourself a number. So 1, I got it, or 1, I didn't get it. 2, I kind of understand it. 3, I got it, and then 4, I can teach it to my friend. Make sure that you do the practice problems for today. And remember, you do have to pass the card sort at 80% before you can go ahead and go into your practice problems. Okay, and if you have any questions, email me. If you have a good day. Thanks.